Around 7 months ago, I made a video titled About Ball and Gun Gamers. Now, I think everybody knows someone who fits the description of a ball and gun gamer, but before we get too deep into the video, let me explain what a ball and gun gamer is. A ball and gun gamer is someone who plays games primarily with balls and guns in them. Examples of these games: 2K, Madden, Call of Duty, Valorant, Fortnite, GTA. The big six. You've probably heard of all of these. But the big thing about a ball and gun gamer is not that they just play these games, it's that they're dismissive or they try to make fun of people who play other games. If you tell them, hey, I love Skyrim, I love Baldur's Gate, I love Cyberpunk. Ooh, you dweeb. Who plays that? Only nerds play that. That's the typical symptoms of your ball and gun gamer. Now, I think it's a pretty well known fact at this point that these people exist. But the more I started thinking about it and seeing that video pop off, by the way, I want to tell y'all thank you for that y'all got that video to 97,000, currently my most popular video. Also, y'all was able to get the channel monetized, all of those things. So just want to say my deepest appreciation for that. I really appreciate all y'all, everybody who shows love. Every single one of my subscribers, love all y'all. But anyway, as I kept thinking about that video, it made me wonder, what actually is the psychology behind a ball and gun gamer? What makes them this way? Not only what makes them dismissive towards other people's gaming choices, but what makes them like these specific types of games so much. And luckily for you, my friend, that's exactly what this video is going to talk about. Before you try and hypothesize about what I'm going to say in this video, I want to tell you, I don't think it's as simple as ball and gun gamers just have bad taste. I don't really think it's that. I really believe it's a personality trait difference that makes somebody likes these type of games more. So we're not just gonna make fun of them, okay? Yeah, we're still gonna make fun of them. I ain't gonna lie, bro. If you're this type of gamer, I'm always going to feel bad for you. Not because I think that you're inferior or something like that, but mostly because I just know it's a whole world of gaming that you have yet to be introduced to, and that you would probably enjoy if you gave it a shot. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into the psychology of ball and gun gamers. Now hold on, before you get mad, before all the ball and gun gamers start commenting, how are you going to say that you don't like video games and ball and gun games are video games? Yes, technically speaking, ball and gun video games are video games. So I'm not actually saying that they don't love video games. Obviously they do. But I'm more saying that there's two ways people can fall in love with gaming. Some people fall in love with video games themselves, the art, the world, the ambiance, the lore. That's the type of gamer I am. I had to realize with games like Skyrim, I love the lore and feel of the world more than anything else. It's really a form of escapism, like I'm going into a different world and I can forget about my own struggles for the short period of time that I log into the game. The other type of gamer loves what the game allows them to do, in the sense of the competitive nature. To create an analogy for this way of thinking, think about people who like movies. I think pretty much everybody on the planet has watched a movie at this point. But some people like romance movies, some people like comedies, some people like action. But the reason that people like all these different type of movies is because they all give them a different type of feeling. Some people like watching action movies because they like saying, oh, that's cool. They like comedy movies because they like to hear something funny. Or they like romance movies because they like to connect with the character. All of these things provide a very different experience, and it's all tailored towards somebody who would enjoy this type of media. I think it's the exact same with ball and gun gamers. There are people in gaming who will play things like Skyrim, Minecraft, Persona, or even Elden Ring, or my personal favorite, a random indie game made by 3 dudes in a basement. Shout out to Schedule 1. That was actually made by one person. But part of the enjoyment actually comes from experiencing different things, experiencing different worlds. And again, that's how I look at gaming. I want to see the world, the mechanics. I want you to completely immerse me in the simulation that you have built. Not only that, I want to connect with the characters of the game. I want them to actually give me something emotionally. Now, I feel like that sounds crazy to say about something that's only supposed to provide a sense of entertainment factor, like video games. But it really can become that deep. But this is a stark difference. To a ball and gun gamer, a video game is merely a vehicle. And most of the time what they're looking for is actually just the competition or social interaction. And I feel like once you understand that about these types of people, their game library makes so much more sense. A good example of this is one of my friends who I would describe as a ball and gun gamer. Now, for a long time, I would look at him and be like, bro, you don't even play games for real. You're not even part of the culture for real. You try to give your opinion on gaming, you don't even know what you're talking about. But then he did something that shocked me. He told me he beat Elden Ring. And the reason he played Elden Ring was just because of the competitive nature and how hard people said that it was. Now, to be honest, Elden Ring is a game I would never expect him to play in a million years. We're talking about a guy who has thousands of hours on Rainbow, thousands of hours on Valorant, and doesn't search in different places for many other genres of entertainment. So the fact that my bro really beat Elden Ring, I was like, what made him do that? And then I thought about it. It was just because of the fact that he wanted to say that he beat Elden Ring, because it was a challenge that was popular and he wanted to beat the challenge. This is something I actually asked him about. I kind of framed that in a way of me like hypothesizing, but this is an actual conversation that we had. And some of you might say, he's not a ball and gun gamer if he played Elden Ring. Look, he has made fun of me for playing Skyrim and Sims and Cyberpunk and a lot. No love lost for my friend. And I also want to further disclaim that he's a ball and gun gamer because I showed him this video.
Worst type of gamer, bro, is the who just plays story mode, my career games all day. Niggas never want to play with the guys. Niggas never want to play online, hop in that field, just sit and play story mode, play against the AI all day. Like, nigga, hop in that field, bro. I know you get old, bro. I can't stand it. You never trying to play with the guys. It's like, damn, bro, you think you too good? This be appearing offline for years, never join the party. And some niggas here online is still never join the party, so they really just don't give a fuck. Be on the game to play by themselves and play story mode, like I really just don't get that. Like me personally, bro, I love competing, bro. I'm trying to play you in any game. I'm trying to go against you, play with you, play against you online. I'm a real compy gamer. Like it's different from niggas like me. I'm a compy gamer. Some niggas are just story mode my career gamers. And looking back at this, I guess that's okay. But it's just kind of weird, bro, because I feel like everybody should want to compete in the game and not just play against the AI.
And do you know what my friend said? He said he agreed with everything that guy said. Now, I think that video has become infamous in the gaming world, and it's low-key looked at as one of the worst takes in gaming history. So the fact that he agreed with him, I think really solidifies the ball and gun gamer description that I have put on him. But in this conversation, I asked him, why do you like Valorant? Why do you like Rainbow so much? And he's like, bro, it's really just the competitiveness of it. I like being good at the game. I like being better than someone at the game. And that's something I couldn't really understand because I've never approached games in that way. Even if I'm necessarily good at a game, I'm never gonna look at it and be like, that's the main reason I'm here. It might be a fun aspect of it, but it's not the reason, it's not what's gonna draw me to a game. If I see a new arena shooter, I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, I gotta play that. I wanna be the best in that. I've never had that in my brain, but that was something that he did. But that's when he really made me realize the main attraction for all these games, again, it's not the world, it's not the mechanics, it's not the form of escapism, it's the competitiveness. I think the desire for competition is the biggest psychological difference between ball and gun gamers and everybody else. Because some people genuinely cannot understand why you would want to spend 80 hours in a game becoming powerful just to fight a computer. Even as a person who does that myself, sometimes I look at myself playing a game or I think about what I'm actually doing and I'm like, this is actually kind of strange if you think about it. Like even in Skyrim, I played Skyrim for over 1,000 hours and I just built these different characters so I could become powerful in my own world to fight a computer. But I don't really care. I love it. If you give me a game and give me the weakest character and tell me 60 hours from now I'm gonna be a one-tap killing machine, killing dragons, killing whatever the enemies of the game are, I'm going to invest in it. I'm not gonna lie, I love a zero to hero story. Even in anime, I know people hate on solo leveling a lot. That's why I love solo leveling. That's why I love Naruto, Attack on Titan. I love a good zero to hero story. But imagine explaining the same experience that I've grown to love to a person whose whole game revolves around guns or balls and beating somebody else. So what happens when you get stronger? You fight stronger enemies. Oh, like real people? Nah, just a computer. They just scale them up for you. So you're grinding to beat the computer? Yes. Even though that's heavily exaggerated, the whole idea or process of what I just explained sounds completely normal to me. That's something I do a lot, like I just said. Even that same friend, I almost had that exact conversation with him. Said it almost in the exact same way, and it sounded insane to him. Keep in mind, he beat Elden Ring, but he did not beat Elden Ring just for his own personal satisfaction. He beat Elden Ring to tell other people that he beat Elden Ring. Now, you could have your own argument. Is he looking for a certain sense of external validation? Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. That's not really up for me to decide. But the truth in that still is that he can't even understand it. More of the concept of why somebody would find that fun. And again, this is something that was explained to me. The satisfaction doesn't come from beating the boss. It just comes from being better than somebody else. When I beat a difficult boss in an RPG, I get satisfaction from overcoming the challenge. He gets that same satisfaction from proving that he's better than another person. And to quote him verbatim, "Man, I just love it. I love dunking on people." I had to kind of like censor that a little bit, or this video was definitely not gonna go up. But when a ball and gun gamer drops 40 points on somebody in 2K, he's getting something different. He's getting that same feeling that a regular gamer would from beating the boss. What really gives them enjoyment is that there's another human being on the side of the world, on the side of their screen, who has to live with the fact that they just got cooked by my friend or whoever that ball and gun gamer was. That's the important part to them, that the victory has social value. It's not just that they won, it's that they beat the person. They beat you. And I ain't gonna lie, we low-key got into an argument when it got to this point, because I was like, bro, it's so weird for you to want to play the game like that, because realistically, even if you are good at the game, if you're not a pro, you don't really have a lot of social value by just saying you're good at the game. Maybe if you're betting or wagering, that makes a complete difference, but I don't see anybody being like, oh my god, you're a legend in Valorant? I've never seen an interaction like that happen, but again, that is something that my friend specifically enjoys, and that I would assume other ball and gun gamers enjoy as well. But that's why I feel like trash talking is so deeply connected with ball and gun games. Without that aspect of it, I don't think he would have as much fun. Even me, when I had my ball and gun game era, if I couldn't get on party chat, I'm not going to play the game or enjoy the game as much. That was my favorite part of the game, being in the party with my friends, being able to trash talk to them, losing or winning. I just enjoyed that human interaction. I've talked about this before, but during my ball and gun gamer era, it was COVID. So there was a lot less human interaction during this time anyway. The only time I actually got to talk to my friends was when we played 2K or when we played Madden. I put up ridiculous hours in this time, but nevertheless, that was my favorite part. Just getting to interact. If I had to hop online by myself every day, I promise you there's no way I have 1,000 hours in Madden 20. And again, this is a foreign concept to someone who plays the games by themselves. If I'm playing Skyrim, after I beat Alduin, I can't get into the mic and be like, oh my gosh, you're so trash, Alduin. I'm gonna look like an idiot. What are we talking about? But for a competitive multiplayer game, you do have that option, and it's almost expected. And honestly, if you're playing a competitive multiplayer game and you don't trash talk just a little bit, personally, I feel like you're not getting the full experience. Another thing to factor in is the pace of these games, because ball and gun games are really good at giving you immediate feedback, that immediate dopamine hit. It's no secret that we're living in an era that loves the dopamine rush, the instant gratification, and I think ball and gun games play perfectly into that. Think about it. If you were to play a game of 2K, if you're on the park you play a game that probably takes you 20 minutes and you have some sense of gratification with at least winning a game on the park versus something like a RPG. That sense of gratification might take way longer because even if you beat a low level enemy, you're not going to feel like you actually accomplished something. I'm actually doing another playthrough of Skyrim right now, and I didn't feel like I accomplished something in the game until I completed an entire quest line. That was the Thieves Guild quest line, by the way. I became the Master Thief, something I've actually never done in the game. But again, for me to achieve becoming the Thieves Guild leader, it took me 8 hours, and that's when I felt like, oh yeah, I finally did something. For a ball and gun gamer who is seeking that instant gratification, or maybe they just don't have a lot of time to play the game, this would be a foreign concept. Also, it's a completely different way of playing the game. Because things with an RPG, I feel like you have to have a level of imagination that you don't with Call of Duty. To put this in perspective, like my playthrough of Skyrim that I'm doing right now, I had an idea for what I want this character to be at the end of my playthrough, but it was something I completely came up with in my head. The game gave me no prompt. The game gave me no direction. I just knew that this is what I wanted to do with this character. This is the direction I want to take him in. For other games, the closest thing that you're gonna have is like builds. What guns do they use? What type of basketball player are they? Which, yes, is a choice in itself, but it's nothing like deciding what type of person this is going to be. What life choices would they make? That's kind of the difference between an RPG and a ball and gun game. And especially if you're somebody who enjoys these more faster paced games, if you're going from Call of Duty where something is literally happening every 2 seconds to a game with more of a slow burn, it could probably feel like filing taxes. Because the thought of going into a game and it being like, what do I do? Whatever you want. That idea is actually uncomfortable for a lot of people. Ball and gun games are good at giving you clearly defined objectives. Shoot them, win. See the basket, shoot ball, win. That's it. There's almost no ambiguity at all. But a giant open world is saying, oh, here's the world. Go figure it out. And some people really don't find that liberating. They just find that boring. There's another explanation that I think often gets overlooked. People like things they're good at. They usually don't like to be uncomfortable. And many ball and gun gamers have spent years on top of years getting good at this game. Imagine you played Call of Duty since you were 10 years old. You're 23 now and you almost understand shooters instinctively. You don't have to consciously think about any other controls anymore. You know this game day in and day out. And then I give you Baldur's Gate 3. Now you got ability points, classes, subclasses, dialogue choices, spell slots, companions, turn-based combat, inventory management. The list goes on and on. You went from being competent to completely lost. And I think it's a well-known fact that human beings generally don't like feeling incompetent. I think that's something gamers tend to forget when giving people these titles. If you've played RPGs your entire life, while things about the game will change, like setting, a lot of the controls and things that you're doing are generally the same. If you play an RPG and you see a dialogue option with a percentage next to it, you probably immediately know what it means. You can see different color loose and understand different rarities and how that whole system works in different games. Or even something as simple as seeing a skill tree and understanding that you're making a type of build. Those are all learned behaviors and something that ball and gun gamers have never developed. But the same is true in reverse. If you put someone who's primarily only played RPGs and in Madden, they're not gonna understand how to, I don't even know how to play Madden. No, this is embarrassing. Make a running back, quarterback. Those are positions in football, right? The fundamental language between types of games always stay the same. And if you already know how to play them, that's where you're comfortable at. And again, if we know one thing about human beings, generally they stay where they're comfortable at. Now we have to talk about my favorite part of the psychology of ball and gun gamers. Because there's a weird cultural thing that happens with gaming. Some video games are apparently nerdy. If you play Cyberpunk, nerd. Skyrim, really nerdy. You play Baldur's Gate, you might as well just wear a wizard hat to work. But somehow spending hours creating the perfect 6'7" point guard with the perfect wingspan, essentially creating your perfect man, that's apparently completely normal. Literally researching jump shot animations and watching YouTube tutorials to create your perfect man. And you don't find that strange. Bro, if you're watching this and you do this, you are a nerd too. We're all nerds. I say it all the time. I'm a proud dork. I don't care. You literally just chose basketball as your skill tree. I really think this way of thinking comes from two things. Historically, what video games have been, and two, societal pressure. For a long time, video games themselves were considered nerdy. But certain games were so culturally mainstream, they pretty much escaped the label. Games dealing with sports, because they already have social status outside of gaming. Everybody understands football, basketball, baseball, hockey. The list goes on. Even soccer. Shooters have action, guns, military aesthetics, and games like GTA, they have money, cars, hookers, things of that nature. Anything people would consider cool, I guess. Fantasy usually doesn't get that protection because then we're talking about magic and elves and swords and castles. It's so crazy how different people will treat you based off of what game you say you like. Even though technically speaking, in both instances, you're literally just sitting in a chair in front of a monitor pressing buttons on a controller. We're doing the exact same thing in a different way, but the exact same thing fundamentally. I think for a lot of ball and gun gamers, they don't really like to consider themselves gamers. If somebody was to ask them, they probably wouldn't say they're a gamer. They'll probably just say, I play games sometimes. I just play 2K Madden. Meanwhile, they have 2,000 hours in Call of Duty, 2,000 in 2K, and 3,000 in Madden. And again, if this applies specifically to you, my brother in Christ, you're a gamer. Not only are you a gamer, you're a hardcore gamer, a really hardcore gamer. You're just very specialized. This is the thing that I understood when I was younger, but kind of forgot as I got older. Video games really are the new barbershop, in the sense of it's where all the homies get together, get in a party, and chat, and just have fun and joke. And once you realize that ball and gun gamers most of the time are not getting on the game, I wouldn't even say specifically for the game, but more about for the social interaction, it makes a lot more sense why they buy the yearly releases of these games that are terrible. Because everybody in their party bought it. They want to be part of the discussion. They want to play with their friends. And I remember being younger, like the PlayStation Xbox war, when that was actually a thing and Xbox had a chance. A lot of people who played on Xbox previously would buy a PlayStation specifically just to play with their friends. And no other reason, not because they liked the interface, nothing. They just wanted to play with their friends. Now, this was before a lot of the cross-play stuff came out, so that's not really an issue anymore. But back then, it was a big deciding factor on what console you was gonna buy. I've literally had that exact conversation, that exact argument with people. They would say PlayStation is better, not because of any like technological reason, just because everybody else is on PlayStation. I have literally heard that exact argument for why PlayStation is better. But again, you have to understand the mind of somebody who plays the game for that reason. It doesn't matter if the new 2K is good or not. The group you play with moved, so you moved too. They jumped off the bridge, so you also jumped off the bridge. So when people like me criticize these people and say, oh, stop buying Madden and 2K every year, it's not about the game. You're telling them to drop off a part of their social routine that probably brings them more happiness than the game. Because I don't know about you, but if me and my friends play a game, me and my friends could literally watch grass grow and probably find some sort of entertainment out of it, which is the crutch that these games have been able to hold on to forever. This is one thing I've never understood, because I've actually heard this from multiple people, with them saying, oh, I don't like story games. Story games are boring. Or they'll be like, I don't like games with all them long cut scenes and all that dialogue and stuff. And I'm like, do you like movies and television? Isn't that exactly what a movie is? A video game with a story is literally just an interactive movie. So I don't understand how you could like a movie and not be able to like a story game, at least one of them. Because if you say I don't like games with stories because I don't like to watch cutscenes and all that stuff and dialogue, that's basically like you being like, I like to watch movies with no characters. I like to watch movies with no plot. What's the point? I guess games can be a little different because, like I said, you can just have the competitive aspect of it and that can carry it. I just feel like that's such a strange take to have because maybe you don't enjoy it. But how are you gonna say people are weird because that's what we like? And that's more of what I'm talking about. The people who say that the people who like that are strange. Every second you're playing COD or 2K, something can happen. Even when nothing is happening, you're anticipating something to happen. Story games deliberately slow down. They create quiet moments. They ask you to listen. They ask you to pay attention to the character. And I know this is probably the biggest thing that people don't like. Sometimes they ask you to read. Now, I will be devil's advocate. I don't like games that make you read a whole bunch too. But to be fair, if your definition of games is constant mechanical like stimulation, then you probably feel like the game stopped. Now, to be fair, again, there are some games with some egregious cutscenes. I think Metal Gear Solid had a cutscene that was like an hour and 20 minutes. Now we getting a little crazy. I ain't gonna cap. An hour and 20 minutes in a cutscene? Who sat there and watched it? If I'm not mistaken, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure you got a achievement for doing that, for watching the whole thing. I'm not sure. But anyway, more than anything, what I'm trying to say in this segment is that for me, the cutscene, I'm still playing the game. Talking to NPCs, that's still a part of the game to me. I can get why they say it feels like the game stopped here, but again, that's just another level of enjoyment that I don't think a ball and gun gamer can get. Okay, this is something else I wanted to say that I think people have never talked about, but or never will outwardly say, but sometimes I low-key think I'm the weird one. I do play the game in a very atypical way. I game in a way that will be unenjoyable to probably 90% of the people who play the game. Even with a game like Sims, I like to live out from being a kid and make my family the way I want to and have these long generations. I will start Sims as one character and plan a game for 6 generations ahead. That's low-key insane because if you know Sims, bro, to get 6 generations in the game, you gotta play for like 100 hours. I play games in an extremely slow burn way. So I do know that there's other people besides me who like playing games in that way. And I'll be honest, a lot of people don't want to commit that amount of time. And I've said it a lot. I do think playing the game in that way is a little bit, teensy bit weird. I understand that the way I play the game is a little bit weird. I'm not saying everybody should play like me. I do think you can play an RPG, completely enjoy it in a different way to me. But the way I play is strange too. I'll admit that. But the biggest difference between me and a ball and gun gamer is that I know that the way I play the game is weird. And I'll never judge somebody for how they play the game. You bought the game. You can play the game however you want to. You feel me? That's your right. When you bought the game, well, you didn't buy the game, you didn't own the game. That's a completely different discussion. But when you bought that license to play the game, you bought the license to play it however you want to. If I want to break the game, let me break the game. If I want to sit in the corner of Skyrim and wait 30 days in game time so I could be further immersed in the character I'm trying to roleplay, let me do that. Yes, that's something I actually do. I do it all the time. To conclude, I think that's really what a ball and gun gamer is. It's not a bad person. It's not a bad gamer, not a person with bad taste. It's just a different type of gamer and somebody who developed a completely different relationship with the gaming. For them, gaming might primarily just be a social activity, and there's nothing wrong with it. They don't necessarily need gaming to transport them to somewhere else. They needed to give them something to do with their friends. And honestly, once I came to that realization, the entire thing really made more sense. Because again, I would always look at these people like, how could you just play this small sliver of games? There's so much things you're missing out on. But even with me not playing with my friends, it might be so much more things I'm missing out on. Who knows all the party chats that I've missed out on because I've been waiting in-game days in Skyrim. But ultimately, the value attached to what we're doing in the game or what you're doing with your friends is created by you. I don't mind missing out on those party chats because I genuinely enjoy what I was doing in Skyrim or Cyberpunk or whatever I was playing. That's what made me happy. And ball and gun games are what makes them happy. Now again, like I said in the beginning of this video, the biggest thing with ball and gun gamers is that they make fun of people who think differently than them. And I think ultimately that's a ideology, that's a way of thinking that just should cease entirely. There's no way that you think that you're better than me because you play 2K and GTA and I like Skyrim and Baldur's Gate and Kingdom Come Deliverance. That just doesn't make sense. Because I don't think I'm better than you for playing these games. And neither should the people who are watching this video. If you play those games, you play Elden Ring, all that stuff, you're not better than your friend who plays 2K. Y'all just like different things. And that's completely fine. That's my take on the ball and gun gamer psychology. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment how you feel about this. Do you think I got it right? Do you think I got it wrong? And thank you for tuning in today, guys. See you next time.